Welcome to Self-Love is Not Selfish, hosted by Safe Heart Connections, community host and founder Sam Morrison Wilson. We work with women to help them learn how to love themselves more fully, which by default improves their lives, and they get to make connections along the way. We're building a band of sisters that are stronger together and are becoming witnesses to the fact that self-love is in fact not selfish. Hi everybody, Sam here. Hope you're having a great day wherever you're at in the world today. I am so excited that you're here for another micro interview. I've got Jamie here with me today. We're going to be talking about mindset and some great things that will help improve our lives just by what we think about. It's so important what our mind is telling us and what we believe, because everything we do starts with what we believe. And so if you're new to Safe Heart Connections, we're so glad you're here. We're glad you found us, and we are excited that you're going to be on this journey with us. If you've been around for a while, we're glad you came back, and I'm excited to talk with Jamie. And let's just dig in a little bit. What's one tip or piece of advice you'd have for the women listening today?
I think one of the most impactful things in creating a life that you love is really learning how to break through your own self-limiting beliefs and realizing that we are the number one inhibitor or contributor of our own success. And oftentimes, to take a step forward to living the life we love, we have to take a step back and reflect upon what could be holding us back from living that life we love. What is the limiting beliefs, the most profound or most often spoken limiting belief in our mind that holds us back from fully living? And it's hard sometimes to realize what that is, Sam, and to understand, okay, what is that? Because oftentimes we don't even realize we came into agreement with what I will call lies about ourselves. They don't come from us oftentimes. They might come from our environment, from someone who spoke into our life, from a bad experience. But we start to believe at some point that we're not something enough. And so when we realize what that something is, what that limiting belief is that we are coming into agreement with, we can then choose to replace that with a new belief and literally flip our own script to at a higher level.
Yeah, that's so good. So if somebody's listening and they're like, oh, I think I have a limiting belief that I need to address, how would they know how would they even know what to look for or to acknowledge it?
So I would say I'm gonna tell you about a little exercise I often do when I'm speaking with audiences on this topic, and put yourself in this position as you listen to this and think through for you what you would be doing in this scenario. So you're in an audience and I'm up in the front of the room and I'm speaking and I ask for a volunteer. And I say, I just need someone to step to the front, volunteer. What do you do? And what I will tell you is I've had rooms full of thousands of leaders. I've had rooms full of hundreds of VPs of sales or salespeople or just any type of person. And the response is usually the same. One or two, no matter how many people are in there, will volunteer. And the rest of the people stay seated. And when someone comes up, I say, hey, what's your name? So nice to meet you. And I give them $100 bill and say, thank you for volunteering. And then I ask, and I say, in this moment, with all seriousness, when I asked for a volunteer to come to the front of the room, what thoughts went through your mind? Be as honest as possible with yourself and me. And what it always comes down to, and Sam, I'm sure you can imagine, is people thinking, I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to look stupid. I don't know what she's going to ask. And it all relates to fear of failure or rejection or not being something enough. And so if you raise it, then it's understanding the origin of that limiting belief, how you came to believe that, at what point in your life, how was that implanted, was that created? And then it's choosing what is the new belief that will serve you that you'd like to carry forward, and literally choosing, like, what would your life be like a year from now if you were able to let go of this and choose, and that is a choice, to adopt this new belief. And belief comes into your mind that you say, I have given that back. That does not belong to me. This is my new belief. And you will literally begin to rewire your brain to think at a higher level and believe the truth about yourself and therefore live out the truth.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. That's what I tell the women. You have to catch it. You got to catch it and then replace it with the truth. I've got a story so a lot of the women in the community know in September, I got invited to a very small group with Russell Brunson teaching at his headquarters for a live 3-day event. And I was one of 20 people in the room. And when I first got invited, I was like, oh, I was feeling that I don't belong in this room with these people. And I'm like, no, that's not true. Replace that.
Yeah.
And then on the second day there, they actually were going to pick from the people in the room. They said, if you have
Right.
a business related question, raise your hand, write down your question, and see if you're selected. And without even thinking, I put my hand up and I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I went from not belonging in the room to raising my hand to saying, yes, I have a question. And then I got picked, and I was in front of 2,000 or 3,000 people online, and it felt so good because I knew I belonged in that room. And you just
Yeah.
have to continue making the choice that reflects that belief, and it becomes easier and easier. But if I had been invited to be in that room 5 years ago, I don't know that I would have gone. And so it's a continual growth process to be able to identify what you want most, be able to reflect when you're thinking, when something isn't going the way, like you're thinking something that's not true, you have to catch it and release it. Catch and release. Get rid of that, replace it with the truth. Yeah. I love that example of being asked to be a volunteer, because everybody can relate to that.
Yeah. Yes. And the thing is, sometimes whatever is afraid, and you just have to step in. And once you do that enough, you become less afraid every time.
Yeah.
It's pushing
Yeah,
past
that
those.
is so true. I'm so excited to be able to connect you with the women in the community. I know they're going to resonate with this. And a lot of the women in the community are in Texas. Not all of them, but a lot of them are.
Yeah.
And so that'll be exciting. We have people from all over the world because of social media and such. But knowing you're a Texas gal, maybe we'll be able to do something in person and connect up soon. That'd be fun.
That would be great.
And
I would love
I will make sure that your links for all the women to be able to get connected to you are around this video, whether they're watching or listening on the podcast, they'll be able to click through. Do you have any kind of closing thoughts before we wrap?
I would just say, I think, just to wrap it in a pretty bow, sometimes the self-limiting beliefs cause us to stay small. And I would encourage you all that when we go out into the world, we're supposed to be as big as possible, to take up as much space as possible with our gifts. And we cannot do that. We allow things to hold us back. And so this is some of the most important work to do, is to break through.
Yeah. Thank you, Jamie. I'm so glad we got connected. I can't wait to share this with my women. And I'm sure that we will stay connected and chat more in the future.
Yes. Thank you so much. What a pleasure.